What's going on to you, Scorpio? So you Scorpios actually have the Five of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and then you also have the Hermit card. So it seems to me as if a lot of you Scorpios have a lot of value to have, right? Just very much so enjoying your life. But a lot of you Scorpios may have come to the conclusion yourselves that you may want to chill out from getting to know someone right now. Because when you get out of something stupid, right, out of a relationship that's really stupid, you don't want to immediately jump back into one, you know, not right after you basically get out of one. You know, there is a time where you have to chill, relax yourself, you know, because you want to be selfish, you know, you want to not have to worry about doing things the way that a we or an us would, more so the way that you want to, you know. I remember plenty of times getting out of connections or relationships or whatever you want to call it with some of the people who I was in one with, and you know, the nonsense that they would put me through, right? And the nonsense that I would basically accept. You know, definitely glad at the fact that I get out of it way sooner before the nonsense like really sets in. And so the situation for you is that you Scorpios are glad that y'all made it out in one piece. Because as long as you Scorpios stayed in this messed up connection, it was putting y'all in a messed up situation, right? So a lot of you Scorpios made it out, and y'all feel good about the fact that you actually made it out in one piece. You still have your faculties about yourself. You know, you can still think you're still you. Because them types of relationships, I'm telling you, sometimes those things take something out of you. A person can never be the same, some of them, I'm telling you. I've seen it myself. You know, they just get themselves into one of those relationships that you could tell they have the soulless, I can't do it because I have a soul, but they have the soulless eyes, right? They just the like the stare, and like you look and you're like, this person is physically attractive, but there's something not there. There's, you know what I mean? There's a certain level of being out to lunch that this person is, right? There's a level of avoidance that this person is trying to do, right? They're trying to, like, you, I don't know, like you could just tell that like some of them, you can just look at them and tell that they're trying to keep it together emotionally. And so the thing about it is that the Hermit represents how, so again, this laying low. You Scorpios wanting to lay low for a little while. Relax yourself, enjoy yourself, you know, contemplate. The Hermit card is about contemplation. It's about, do you want to go back to your cave, or do you want to continue to explore the world, right? If you catch my drift, which one do you want to do? Will knowledge keep you from seeing, or will you see more, right? But just because you see more does not necessarily have to mean that you are the one that's getting the short end of the stick, right? Because me, y'all know that I'm learning. Y'all know that I'm constantly learning. What I'm realizing is, and this is something that I kind of got to, but I never really understood how deep the rabbit hole went. I'm realizing like, oh, okay, a lot of people are not in control of their faculties the way that they try to make it seem like they do, like they are. And so part of the reason why they gravitate to someone who is at least better in control of their own faculties than they are is because they want help. But at the same time, once again, they're not in control of their faculties like that. So it doesn't, so, you know, if you have the ability to separate yourself spiritually and not take it personally, right? But then again, too, it really just depends on where you Scorpios are. The King of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles represents a lot of you have gotten back to being able to value yourself, right? Because again, sometimes you want to and you should be by yourself. It's not a good thing to always run around in and out of relationships. That is not healthy. That is not a good thing. And the reason why is because, yes, the situations that happen and the arguing and the bickering and stuff like that, no doubt. But at the same time, it's also when you gotta understand, like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all know I'm gonna tell y'all what it is. Like, when y'all have romantic, I'm gonna just say what it is. When you have romantic fun, both sides get attached. I'm telling you, okay, as a person who has felt that attachment. Because at first, the first time, I was like, okay, kind of, I was like, okay, is this what it is that people do? Okay, cool, I'll see where this goes. Okay. The second time, it's like, why am I having this connection? The third time, it's like, okay, this thing is happening, huh? Like every time. So again, I learned from my mistakes. I pay attention to the details. I'm a Virgo. So what this means here is that for you, this is all about your reshaping of how you Scorpios perceive the world, right? Once again, the Hermit is it's probably the most important card in this reading because it represents what do you really want to do. The Hermit is Virgo, right? And I studied these cards. The story about the Hermit is you have people who basically was kept in a cave, right? One of the stories, because there's many. And they were taught information about the outside world, right? To people who can come and go, to sages, basically, who has decided to stay back and make this their work. And then they basically release people one at a time, right? Or a small amount of number at a time to just basically explore, go run free, do whatever they want. They're not caught up with whatever. They can literally go away from the cave and never come back. It's whatever, right? And so sometimes people, because they see so much of the world that they have missed, they decide they get smaller underneath the pressure and they go back. And then there's people who are like, nah, some things happen, but at the same time, I'm still going to stay out here because I spent so long hearing about the outside world. Now it's time for me to really go and do my thing because I'm here now, right? And so it really just depends on where you Scorpios really are in what you want to do. So like I said before, some people decide not to and they shell up. This is where you get the clip off. The clip off is where people shell up or thing, whatever, right? Regardless of the who to what, it's still a shelling process, regardless of whether you're talking about the Kabbalah or whether you're talking about the clip off. It's still the shelling up. This is when they talk about shelling up, this is what it is that they're talking about, really. They're talking about getting caught up or stuck in one phase of life and reaching to a certain point and choosing to never move past that point. And so this is why it is that I was saying that the blue and the red here, right, across from one another, when you get, because you got to go from the red to the blue. Once it is that you get to here, you reach a very high point in society. But once you get from the blue and then you cross over and then you get to understanding, right, and wisdom and all of that, because this is mercy, this is knowledge. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that the red and the blue and down is the realm of the animal. So you still haven't really reached the point. If you get caught up here, then you're still stuck. You're still stuck. What makes a person universal is if they move past, and then there's levels where you plop behind this, go to clip off, or you can plop behind this when you get here, go to the clip off. You dig what I'm saying? But the point that I'm trying to make here with that is that this is a very pivotal point for you, is why I'm talking about it. And so now the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Wands here is about how you're healing yourself, but it's like this process of whether you Scorpios are going to continue to date again, you have to do some healing, because obviously you don't want to end up saying anything where, it makes you sound stupid later, right? Like you'll say things like you'll never date. I heard that so many times, but then the same people will get back out there. Or you'll say things like you're going to continue to date, and it's like you just don't come back. So a lot of you Scorpios right now, just like be quiet or be silent about the decision. It's not really a decision right now. You should really be, excuse me, standing still and really just trying to heal first. And then you have the Hierophant. And so, excuse me, the Hierophant is Taurus and Sagittarius. So Taurus is your opposite sign. So a lot of you Scorpios right now should seek grounding, should seek, again, if you're religious, pray. If you're spiritual, meditate. There's a distinct difference. The reason why I talk about it like that is because people conflate religion with spirituality, and it's like that. No, that is not the same. No, do not do that. Listen. I'm warning anybody who is religious, as a person who's being see-through and transparent with you and truthful. Do not do that. And the reason why I don't suggest you to do that is because, like I said, spirituality and religion are distinct. In spirituality, right, if depending on how far you want to go, if you really want to go far, you do things that religion would not agree with. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be, what you're doing is super disrespectful, but what I am saying is that spirituality is an individualistic path. So things like letting go of the church, not going to church anymore, meditating instead of praying, right? Seeking your own counsel and your own subconscious mind in place of the Most High. All of that, you can't do that in religion. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying do not conflate the two now, because there's practices that you can do in spirituality, once again, that empowers you. And again, the religious aspect, they would look at that and they would say, no, that's magic, that's this, that's that. Like there's a term called vril. And see, this is what the Hierophant is talking about, right? Whatever it is that you do, seek solace in that, is what it's saying. Whatever you do, religion, spirituality, it's time for you to get back into that. Dive into that. That will also help you heal the process. When I go through a breakup, when I go through some stupid stuff like that, guess what I do? I'm not religious, so guess what I do? I go read an occult book. You understand what I'm saying? I get right back into it, right? I can't put it down. I am it. You dig what I'm saying? For real though, I can't put it down. And so I go read, I get back into the occult. Now again, it doesn't mean that I have to like go through a separation or a breakup in order for me to do that. But it's one of the things that helps me feel good, because you know why? I'm at home there. That is, I'm not gonna say it's my cave, but that is the place where I can find peace. You know what I'm saying? Where it's peace and quiet, so to speak. And so whatever you need to do in order to heal, do that. The Five of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles here is about, because the last thing that you Scorpios want to do is revert back. That's the last thing that you Scorpios want to do, is to revert back. You know, you don't trust people again. You start thinking you have to run game on people. I'm telling you from personal experience, trying it out myself, seeing it, how it works on other people, all of that game, it does not work out. I'm telling y'all, it doesn't work out in the long. I've never seen it work out in the long run, ever. Never, not single time. There's no exception. I've never seen it work out in the long run. I've seen it work out, sure, in the short run, but it always backfired in the long run, 100% of the times. Because you cannot run game all the time. You have to be honest at some point. That honesty is what creates the authenticity. Running game, guess what that's going to do? It'll work at first, but even if it works at first, a person will find out that you running game because the stories don't match, And then at that point, it doesn't matter if you keep running the same game, the person will be more suspicious and aware that, again, they're under Kyoko Suigetsu. You understand what I'm saying? For all those anime heads, basically a powerful illusion where it's like you see the person running game on you now, right? Where as to where you didn't before. And so you don't want to do that. Queen of Pentacles, you want to be able to, I don't know if you Scorpios can understand this, but you want to be able to, like, when you deal with adversarial interactions, use it as a means of power, right? Like, take it and use it as a means of power. Show people how thick your skin is, right? Show people how you can turn passive aggressive behavior and disrespect into a means of maintaining your own dignity, right? Show people how you Scorpios can be aristocratic and upright, right? Where other people are petty and dysfunctional, and again, they're not in control of their faculties and all of that as much as they make it seem like they are, right? They can't control their emotions. Show how you Scorpios can. And so the thing is that for you, a lot of you Scorpios are just healing. That is the focus. A lot of you Scorpios are healing. A lot of you Scorpios are like, you know, you're figuring out which way, where's where again. And so it's a good thing. Let's clarify the Queen of Pentacles. There's something in Norse mythology called Vril, right? Vril is basically magic. Basically, it's magic, right? They have a different term for different parts of the world, but they call it Vril. So to clarify the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Cups. What is going on? The Queen of Wands, the Magician, the Eight of Pentacles, and then you have the Three of Swords, to clarify. So what this is about is, again, right, Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, Magician. Let people be petty. There's a lot of people who look stupid when they interact with me, talking about face to face when they interact with me, because, especially in the outside world, I was streaming on TikTok, about, how some of them do the New York City tours, and I'm from New York City, so I want to go ahead and show people Manhattan, right? Like, you don't see it from people from the perspective who live in Manhattan. It's usually people who live in, like, New Jersey or the Bronx or Queens or Staten Island, Long Island. You feel what I'm saying? Like, Rhode Island. You don't see people actually like showing you New York or the tri-state area from the perspective of living in Manhattan. They come from there, they live there, they're a resident in Manhattan. And so I did that, had a person looking at me like I'm cuckoo, and I just basically brushed it off, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm saying to myself, I know what I'm doing, so I know for a fact that I don't have to I know what I'm doing, so I don't have to justify anything, right? But I was just thinking about how, the person's jumping to conclusions or whatever. And it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Let them jump to conclusions. The Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Swords is about how you Scorpios, ultimately, because, as time go on, the more you focus on what you got going on, is the less you care about the silly little goofy insults that people can throw out at you, honestly. A lot of the times what I think about whenever it is that I get like insulted, I think about spirituality, and it calms me down a lot of the times. Because it lets me know a lot of these people are not, they're not really connected like that. You know what I mean? When people see a person talking to their phone, they think that the person is immediately out of their mind. When I see a person talking to their phone, I may laugh because of how unusual it is for a person to, but then again too, you really got to ask yourself, is it unusual? Because people are on their phones all day, right? And then not only that too, but okay, this person is talking to their phone or whatever. Is it that this person has something wrong with them? Or is it that this person is doing a live stream? We've seen wilder things before. Remember the Bluetooths? You know what I'm saying? You remember the Bluetooth? When it is that we thought that people look goofy because it was like, yeah, you on the phone. Phone's here? Yeah. Phone on the table? Uh-huh. What's going on with you? You had the Bluetooth in the air? Yeah. Well, what happened was is that I was at such. Tell me that didn't look wild. But the point that I'm trying to make here with that is exactly my point, right? The fact that the more you do use, the more you won't care about what other people got going on. So you need to heal. You need to regather your strength. Because I am seeing that you Scorpios may be doing a little bit too much dating. So that's it for now. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Trying to get the YouTube channel to 100K. We are at 21,400 and change. Smash the subscribe button, like button, hit the notification bell, set the notification bell to all so you can be notified whenever I drop my videos. The link, oh, by the way, come through and get a personal reading. The link to that is in the comment section below. Peace.